And here we are again. The final match for the Hearthstone.fi Monday Night Community Tournament number 22 is about to begin. We have Korodax from Germany facing off against Juristis from the Ukraine. The lineups from the players are very different. Korodax bringing Paladin, Warlock, and Mage, mid-range Paladin, Zoo Warlock, and Mech Mage, versus Juristis is Control Warrior, mid-range Shaman, and Oil Rogue. Now on paper, we know that Juristis' lineup is stronger against these aggro-ish decks from Korodax, but you never know. You never know. It might still end up being in the favor of the German player if he gets the chance to use them efficiently. I'm gonna go ahead and give the players the get-go to start going, and we'll get right into the match. We will join the match on the side of the Ukrainian player, which we did not see last time. He will start off with his Control Warrior, and the Control Warrior against mid-range Paladin should end up being in favor of the Warrior. We actually see a Kel'Thuzad from Koroda's lineup. Kel'Thuzad is not a card you always expect to see in Paladin decks. So that could be a smallish surprise when it comes to Juristis and his ability to play out the decks. This turn 2, probably just gonna be the Armorsmith to try and develop the board. Also effectively hard counter the hero ability from Koroda, because now you don't want to be playing any more of your reinforcements. The Armorsmith will just pump health from it, and that'll be the end of that. This 3-2 Knife Juggler, you can go for the armor up into Shield Slam and deny it, because if the turn 3 ends up being a muster for battle, it's 3 free damage from the Knife Juggler. And 1 damage from the weapon as well. Yep, going for the ultra safe option of using the Shield Slam on the Knife Juggler. Thus, it's unlikely that they'll be able to remove the Armorsmith by just attacking with the Knife Juggler and juggling for 1. With the coin, probably dropping the Shredder over the True Silver Champion. The turn with the Shielded Minibot would not have been as effective, since the attack value from the Minibot is unable to handle the Armorsmith. Now this, turn 3, basically just forced to use the shield block. Since playing the Acolyte of Pain into the Ballad of Shredder would mean that you would only get 1 draw from it, and in this matchup you want to get as much draw from the Acolyte as possible. On turn 5 you don't want to be using the Brawl yet. The Brawl would be low impact, taking out small value minions and maybe even just proccing the Death Rattle from the Shredder. The Sludge Belcher fits perfectly on the curve, provides you with a nice big taunt body. That's definitely the play to go for. Well played and well read on their part. Koroda's own True Silver Champion combined with a Silver Hand Recruit will be able to take it out. But still, you have bought yourself some time. He values the Divine Shield from the Shielded Minibot over the damage potential from the Piloted Shredder. Interesting choice. I personally would have probably gone for the damage potential, because that would lower the armor amount of Juristis down to 4. Well, this is still either player's game. The Dead Spite threatens 5 damage, so the Sludge Belcher would actually be killed, but the Spelcher is still a lot more stickier than the Loatheb. If he had played the Loatheb down, yes, he would get more damage to the face, but still it would trade the Dead Spite with a 5-5 instead of a 3-5. Double Acolyte of Pain to draw as many cards as possible from this Whirlwind effect. 2 cards, oh wow, actually second Whirlwind coming down as well. Still opting not to use it. One could argue that using the Whirlwind would have been an okay play, because you would have traded 1 card for 2, but It's probably wanting to hold on to it to be an activator for a second execute or whatever that needs a small amount of damage to finish things off. This Stampeding Kodo getting some excellent value by removing one of those 1/2s without actually giving the card from it, because of the fact that the Acolyte Pain is just straight up destroyed instead of taking damage. The Kodo is pretty much the perfect answer against them. This Belcher will meet the fate of the first Belcher as well, the 1/1 and the weapon, making sure that it gets absolutely nothing done. The 2/1 Minibot will be able to trade into the 1/2, or he can utilize the Kodo to go ahead and drop it without losing his Minibot in the process. A reinforcement. Yep, there we go. This is safer play and enables you to hold on to 4 minions on the board instead of just 3. This Sludge Belcher denies the use of the Fiery War Axe very efficiently. Dr. Boom, nicely on the curve. Combine it with just a hero power to buy yourself some more time. The MC Tech not useful yet, but given that it's unlikely that he will clear the board this turn completely, there's likely to be targets for the MC Tech next turn. This amount of damage from the Paladin is very, very significant. There is 17 damage, if I count correctly, just from minions alone, and 4 damage from the double consecrations. So it is lethal, unless Juristis finds a way to handle the board. The Brawl does cost 10 mana, but I would argue that it is the right play right now. Playing the Brawl, even without attacking with the Boombots, just to see where the Boombot death rattles land when they end up dying. It is likely that one of the opposing player's minions will stay alive, but okay. He doesn't see the value in removing 5 minions from the board with 10 mana. I really don't agree with this play as much. Yes, you get the armor from the Armor Smith, but it still threatens, let's see, 8, 11, 12 damage from the board, from the minions, and leaves you with 6 hit points left. This Whirlwind for 6 does give you 2 more armor, does remove 2 minions. And with the Taskmaster, you can actually remove the 3rd one as well. Had he played this optimally, he would have popped down the Cruel Taskmaster before using the Whirlwind, so he would have gotten 1 more armor out of it as well. So that's just a small error in the order of the turn. Probably not significant though, seeming as how. Koroda is able to play his top deck to Ragnaros freely. The Big Game Hunter will be able to kill it, but you should probably first brawl, see what comes up on top, and if it is the Ragnaros, then you can commit your Big Game Hunter. If it's something else, you can commit your Lotheb.
I've got the beast in my sight.
Well, instead of going for the brawl, he's waiting for bigger value out of it, dropping the Lotheb in combination with the Big Game Hunter. Yes, the Big Game Hunter will be able to trade into any of these existing minions, and he has got a significant amount of hit points left, so it's not that big of a threat. But the 5/3 can trade with your 5/5 very efficiently. This Geddon, though, will make a very significant impression onto the board. The only thing able to survive it is the Mind Control tech. It's quite likely he will pop the Geddon with the hero power, since it will remove all of these existing Silverhand recruits, removing the threat from the Quartermasters and everything possible. The only thing that would survive is a muster into Quartermaster, and it's not even 100% guaranteed that he has muster Quartermaster in here. All of these other cards have to have replaced something for there to be room for Kodos and stuff like that. Maybe it doesn't include the quartermasters just because everybody expects them. Out of meta decision. Forced to play the Eldor without any targets just so he has at least something on the field. The Equality Consecration combo still staying in his hand for the duration, but it does not help him wrestle control of the board back. The Control Warrior probably just gonna go ahead and clear out the minions in a timely fashion. He is in no rush, in no hurry, holding on to a Shield Maiden and a Brawl. Even if the Paladin were somehow able to flood the board with minions, he would still be able to handle it. This is a perfect board for the Deathspite to proc on, kill off the Shredder, kill off the 1/1s. Alex the Face. He should probably first attack before utilizing the Alex, so he doesn't end up hurting the 8/8 body. And the Mana Wraith unfortunately doesn't deny the Alex, but despite that, Juristis opts to go for the Shield Maiden play instead. Knowing that the 2/2 is on the board and an equality has not been played, that's actually a very, very smart move. Since the equality would just completely wreck Alexstrasza by the Mana Wraith attack. The 5/5 isn't worth it, but the 8/8 definitely would have been. And with the 5/5 already on board, you can utilize Alexstrasza's Battle Cry first and then attack with it to force your opponent down to a certain set spot where it's not as easy to come back from. This Equality Consecration combination gonna go off, getting very, very good value. Suddenly, the swing has gone in the favor of the Paladin very fast. This Brawl needs to take out targets in such a way that the Dr. Boom does not stay alive. The best target to stay alive would be one of these Silver-Hand Recruits, which he could just Cruel Taskmaster out. Now, if these boom bots end up rolling high on Juristis' face, there we go, best possible brawl result, but if they roll high, they do roll high. It means that the Muster for Battle plus the 1/1 weapon will actually threaten lethal as well. Tyrion, that is a nice card to top deck. And the fact that he did not play the Cruel Taskmaster first means he's waiting for Grom to be the activator among these 6 cards he has in his hands. Unfortunately though, now that Tyrion is on the board, it's not gonna help him. He has 7 damage out even with the Taskmaster removal, and Juristis can pump himself up to 7 exactly, and that's not enough. Koroda takes the first match in this best of 5 series, making the result Koroda 1, Juristis 2. Sorry, Koroda 1, Juristis 0. This was the first match. That was my bad. And it's running fine, thank you for asking.
You asked for it. Watch your...
Does he hold on to the sprint? I don't think he should. Backstab and the Fan of Knives are both good against the Mech Mage. Maybe you can argue that the Fan of Knives is a bit slow, but the sprint definitely is way too slow. Getting the Dr. Boom instead of the sprint, well, they're both 7 mana cards. Not gonna help against a rushy Mech Mage like this. Turn 1 Mech Warper into a free Clockwork Gnome. Pretty much the perfect start for a Mech Mage. Backstab into the Mech Warper, hero power, kill it. Or just backstab for 3 with the Blood Mage Thalnos, then Thalnos will be able to trade with the Gnome as well. Not taking 2 damage to the face, but you are committing the 1/1 to the board. This Anoyatron will be able to kill it off. But instead of going for the face damage, he actually sees that the Thalnos is a big enough threat to warrant taking out the 2/1 instead of the Divine Shield from the 1/2. Yes, rogues do have a lot of abilities able to deal 2 or 1 damage, but I think he should have gone for the more aggressive play. Of course, this Farseer would have made his plans irrelevant, so to speak, but on this turn, on turn 3, he would have still had the 2/1 body on the field, and the Anoyatron would have just had 1 less Divine Shield. if he planned to attack first with the weapon, then he could have taken out the Divine Shield and used the Farseer for the required amount of damage. Now he's basically forced to use the Deadly Poison. At 3 damage on turn 5, you can push it to 5 damage to all targets, which would clear out the Stinker Town Technician. Fan of Knives, cycle, then your Blade Flurry will kill everything if you want to use it. Or you can just attack the 4-3 and kill it. But you're taking 4 more damage to the face, and that's not a good position to be in. But you don't want to use your AoE against just 2 minions. So respect the attack from that 3 attack dagger into the 4-3. It makes a lot of sense. But when I'm looking at this board state and when I'm looking at the damage potential in both players' hands, I have to give it to Koroda right now. Juristis might be able to come back if he's able to heal himself enough and keep himself from falling down. Below the critical line of double fireball, 12 damage. You know, Tron doing its thing. Stopping the Ordinary Farseer from being effective. Interesting choice to go for the mechanical yeti removal. Yes, this does make it so that the rogue doesn't have an oil target, so I kind of understand why he did that. And he can't take out this Enoyotron with the minion either, so that makes a lot of sense. Deadly Poison attack into the Enoyotron, then now Flurry for 3 targets removed. He knows it's a mirror entity though. He probably would have wanted to proc the mirror entity with a minion of some sort before playing the Blade Flurry. But it wasn't possible since the only minion he was holding onto was a Dr. Boom, and you cannot afford to give a 7/7 body for a mech mage. That would absolutely break your plans. Combo to Eviscerate would be enough to kill the Snow Jugger. First he's going to draw the 4 cards from the sprint. He's still left with 4 mana to try and seal the deal. This is the perfect answer. The Southsea Deckhand provides only a 2/1 from the mirror entity. And your SI7 agents can combo to kill off either the 2/1 or the 2/3 with the combination of the attack from the dagger or from the Southsea Deckhand. Anyway, you look at it, you're still able to clear the opposing side of any minions, and you know that the mage is holding onto 3 spare parts. And these spare parts are double Time Rewinder and a Finicky Cloak Field. Pretty much useless. The Time Rewinders are one of the few spare parts that mech mages cannot utilize very efficiently. Yep. Using the 1 attack value from the dagger, removing the 2/1, taking the same amount of damage as if you had attacked into the 2/3, but you're not frozen for the upcoming turn. There it is, the double fireball combination. Koroda is just basically looking for an opportunity to push down Juristis low enough. And now we see the 3 health buff from that single Ordinary Farseer is going to enable him to win this match. Since he would be at 12 if the Farseer had not been there when the time was right. Fireball number 1 going to the face. Will we see a Mech Warper Cloak Field? 3, 10, 12 damage on the board and 7 damage from an Oil Rogue is nothing too great. It would just be a comboed oil into an Eviscerate or even double Eviscerate. That would be enough. Cloak Fielding, this Mech Warper makes it so that you have the required 2 damage for the next turn, but does Juristis have the lethal? 2 damage from SI7 Agent, 4 damage from Eviscerate, that's 6 down to 13. There's 10, 3, 2, 1, and with the dagger, it's lethal. You can prep Eviscerate into SI7 Agent, attack with everything plus the dagger, and you have it. It's lethal for the Ukrainian player. Making the game 1-1 for this final series of the Hearthstone.fi Monday Night Community Tournament number 22. Now, the Rogue is out, only the Warrior and Shaman remain for Juristis, while we watch the lethal animations play out. Players of this skill caliber usually don't miss lethals, as obvious as this one. The Warrior is a very slow deck choice, the Shaman is mid-rangey. And you know, Korodax only has the very aggressive Warlock and the very aggressive Mage left. So... I would probably go for the Shaman first, because that's the tougher matchup. On the other hand, you want to play the Shaman against the Warlock more than the Mage. Because the Mage deck doesn't really have any targets for Hex. The Mage doesn't really have any major threats that would be dealt with. Earth Shock. You could, in theory, deny the turn 1 spare part from the Clockwork Gnome and maybe silence the Freeze, but that's pretty much it. So on paper, this Shaman matchup against the Mage is not as good as against the Zoolock. But he opts to go for the Shaman first. If he gets the win from here, then he'll have to play the Warrior against the Zoo. That might be interesting. We'll have to wait and see. Turn 1 plays, Juristis is Zombie Chow, objectively much better than the Cogmaster. But since Koroda has the Snow Chuggers, this Cogmaster will be able to trade up, deny the board presence of Juristis. Well, he wants to go for the more aggressive style of play. Force the Shaman to be the one doing the removals. And there we go. That's exactly what he is going to do. I'm just afraid that if the Shaman is allowed to be on the board uncontested, there's going to be things like the Flame Tongue Totem, enabling his minions to trade up significantly better than it would have been otherwise possible. But in that play, Koroda is definitely the aggressor in this matchup, so I understand why he did what he did. Using the 1-2 spiders to push the Snow Chugger down, so the Arcane Nullifier will be able to clear it and handle it beautifully. He might not even attack with the Snow Chugger yet. We'll have to wait and watch. Hero Power able to clear out one of those 1-1 spiders, so they cannot be used to trade into a Snow Chugger either. The Mad Scientist wants to be popped, so any possible minion plays that are 4 or more coming on the following turns will just get mirror entity'd out. He does use the Snow Chugger. Probably because he wants to make it so that this Snow Chugger will be able to handle the Arcane Nullifier come next turn. Luckily for Juristis, he can pop this mirror entity with the top deck to Haunted Creeper, and the Haunted Creeper not being a big threat to his own well-being. Yes, it will be able to trade with the Arcane Nullifier, but that's pretty much all it can do. It also will not activate the Blast Mage. It won't be optimal. Second mirror entity into a Fire Blast to take out the 1-1 small minion. These smaller Spectral Spiders probably gonna get cleared out by the Haunted Creeper. Turn 5, you know that it's a mirror entity, so you don't want to play the Loatheb. If you're gonna play the Arcane Nullifier into it, then you're first gonna attack with the Haunted Creeper, then go for the Arcane Nullifier. The Hexes won't be useful against it. The Hexes might be useful against the Loatheb, but it's more likely that he'll just use the Loatheb to go for face damage for 5. And you don't want to give him 5 when you can just give him 2. I would opt to go for the Arcane Nullifier play myself. For the exact same reason. If you're able to stabilize the board as the Shaman, start denying the Mech Mage any board presence at all. No activators for the Blast Mages, no activators for their synergy. Well, he wants to go for the more aggressive, more mana efficient play. by utilizing the Loatheb. We'll have to wait and see if it ends up being meaningful, because of the fact that now we'll know that he has 3 more damage coming to his face over the 2 damage from the Arcane Nullifier. So if lethal is in fact within 3 damage because of the Loatheb, we'll know it was a misplay. The 1-2 can be handled by utilizing the 1-1 small creeper and then going for the Rockbiter weapon removal. You could argue hexing either the Loatheb or the Blast Mage makes a lot of sense as well, because they are big threats, and mech mages don't usually have a lot of big threats. The Nullifier would just be destroyed by either one of them. If you go for the 1-1 into Divine Shield, Rockbiter your own face, remove the 1-2, hex this Loatheb. You'll want to hex the Loatheb only after you've attacked with your own Loatheb, because now... Oh, well. He instead opts to keep his own Spectral Spider alive and use his 5-4 to go for the 1-2 kill. It does mean you take 1 less damage to the face, and this matchup it might end up being significant. Now let's remember, he would be at 12. He would be at 12 if the situation would be different. And now that he is at 9, the Fireball Frostbolt will be lethal. Fire Elemental into the 5-4, and the attack from the 1-1 will clear it out. Unfortunately though, since he made the wrong call by playing down the Loatheb, this match is over. The winner will be Koroda's Mech Mage from the cards he has in his hand. That's 6 mana, exact lethal. GG. It is now 2-1 in favor of the German player, and he has only his Zoo Warlock left. So either the Control Warrior or the Shaman coming up from Juristis. When you look at match histories, Koroda is in the lead, 2-1. But it has happened in the history of the Hearthstone.fi tournaments that we have had full reversals from 0 to 3-2. It is quite possible for Juristis to make a comeback. The Control Warrior is very, very good against aggro decks since it can stabilize the early game aggression with its own hero power. It has a lot of removal potential. The Shaman, maybe not as great, but it does also include the Spirit Wolves. It does include things like the early game removals with Earth Shocks, Rockbiter weapons. Yep, it's still very much doable. Not over yet. Koroda just needs a single win, while Juristis needs 2. All of the cards in his starting hand though were very much too slow. Throwing 3 out, only keeping the Taskmaster, due to the fact that the Taskmaster will probably be able to utilize its Battlecry to trade 2 for 1. Best possible start for a Zulok, a Flame Imp. And to try and respond to that, the Armorsmith popping down onto the board. Unfortunately for him though, the Abusive Sergeant buffing up Flame Imp means that no more board presence for the Warrior, and you only get 1 armor out of the Armorsmith. Taskmaster, like I said, trading 2 for 1 by utilizing his Battlecry to take out the 1 hit point minion. The Zulok will be able to utilize his own Sergeant to trade up into the Taskmaster. He probably should do that, because you are fighting for board presence with the Zoo Warlock. With the 2-2 Taskmaster up, you can clear out the Haunted Creeper very efficiently, and there are a lot of whirlwind effects that the Warrior might be able to play. It does increase the Zoo Warlock's damage potential by 1 for the next turn. And those small creepers are able to kill off the 2-2, so it might end up being in his favor if there are no significant whirlwind effects being drawn. Fire War Axe, perfect on the curve, taking out the Pilot Shredder. Let's see what comes out. A buffed Direwolf Alpha means that the Abusive Sergeant will deal 1 more damage than it usually would. At 5 mana, The Nerubian Egg will probably be played next to the Direwolf, so there will be an activator for it. No reason not to tap. You will not be utilizing the Owl or the Power come this turn. We know that Koroda plays the Void Terrors, and he plays Enders that involve the Power Overwhelming card. The reason why you want to play the Void Walker in the middle with the Direwolf Alpha is the fact that Juristis has to clear it out with the weapon, and by playing next to the Alpha, it will deal out 1 more damage when it blocks. The Shield Slam, pretty much perfectly timed, given that in this way the Nerubian Egg is not activated, and you can deny the 1 added additional damage to the face from the attack. Since he is playing the Defender of Argus, once again tapping first makes a lot of sense. In theory he could have gone for the Golem plus Abusive as well, but the Argus provides the Nerubian Egg with, once again, activation and the possibility to attack, forcing the Warrior to handle it. Turn 6, Shield Maiden, giving the Warrior more hit points, more room to work with. Still, the Zoo has been able to very efficiently deal with any possible threats. This Power Overwhelming, trading up into the 5-5 with the 1-1, enables you to keep a significant amount of board presence. Probably doesn't want to overcommit since he hasn't seen a brawl yet. If he had played down this Abusive Sergeant, it would just get killed with the brawl play. The reason why he also used the Power Overwhelming on the 1-1 and not on the Nerubian Egg is the exact same. If there is an AoE which clears out most of the minions, the Nerubian Egg will still lay down the 4-4, be able to continue pushing on the damage. This Abusive Sergeant gonna get used on one of the 2-1s, so they will be pushed up, be able to kill off the Get-In in combination with the Nerubian Egg as well. Yep, 4 plus 1, 5 into the Get-In, so you'll be able to continue doing more threats. Actually, opts to go for the 2-1. He values the egg highly. Maybe because he will activate it with the Terror, or maybe because he's afraid of the Brawl. Yep, the Terror will be placed onto the side. So there are still more minions, and it is not a humongous target to just clear out. The Taskmaster Execute will take care of it. The Brawl has a chance to take care of it, but then what are you gonna do if this 5-4 stays alive? Executing the 1-1 first, then brawling makes a lot more sense because the 4-4 will have the position to be destroyed. He wants the 2-1s to stay alive. If it's either one of the bigger minions, oh yeah, perfect. This is the best possible result for the Warrior, because then you can Taskmaster out one of the smaller minions. And this is a really, really good brawl for Juristis. Had those larger minions stayed alive, the situation would have been far, far worse for him. Koroda probably wants to utilize this Iron Beak Owl before he plays down the Doom Guard, and now that the Sludge Belcher has been played, the Owl has a perfect chance to make use of itself. There's 9 damage coming out of him, and the Warrior is holding on to 9 damage as well. You are at 2, so you cannot afford to tap this turn. He'll play the Owl, he'll play the Gnome, play the Doom Guard as well. Now that he taps though, he'll have to clear something. If he doesn't clear those minions, then he's facing lethal coming next turn. The tap effectively did nothing. He was just forced to discard that 2-1. Yeah, in theory you got a nice card out of it. The Void Walker able to stop aggression from the Warrior by denying Taskmaster from being attack valuable, or using the Deathbite, forcing the Deathbite use on the Void Walker. I still don't like it that much. Let's see where the Boombots land. They land on the Shredder, and not on the Doom Guard. It will be removed with a Hero Power Shield Slam combination though. The Warlock, what would he need? He needs some sort of way to handle the Dr. Boom. Maybe another power? Nope. No Power Overwhelming. And the Enrage activator, not enough either. Juristis is Control Warrior, able to rest out. Match number 2 from Koroda's Zoo Warlock. We will see a Shaman versus Warlock grand final finisher in our tournament. This match will decide which one of the players gets to go home with 50 euros and 10 WCS points for BlizzCon qualification. The second placer only gets 5 points and no money, so it is a very important matchup. First off, you get the Earthshock and the Lightning Storm, both very important early game cards. Maybe take out the Shredder, hope for something like a 2-drop on turn 2. Koroda probably will hold on to the 1-drops, and he does. Holding on to the Implosion is an interesting decision as well. It is pretty much the best possible card you can have for turn 4. I do agree with that. He should hold on to the coin, because of the fact that now, if he uses the coin this turn, this Voidwalker will not deal the extra 1 damage from the Knife Juggler's Juggle. He does deal 1 attack damage to the face by just by attacking, that's true, and he does protect the Leper Gnome from possible cards like Rockbiter Weapon, but I still value it by being played with the Knife Juggler instead of before it. Well, the Lightning Storm has a 50% chance to clear off the Voidwalker and a 100% chance to clear everything else. But since you are playing Shaman and you are still at 29 and you know that the Zoo Warlock will flood the board, you should held on to it. Play Hero Power, maybe Earthshock 2-1 or Earthshock the 3-2. Yep, Earthshock the 2-1 makes a lot of sense. You deny the 2 damage to the face and you're faking to the opposing player that you don't have your AoE, which hopefully will make them commit to the board even more. Abusive on the 5-2. First juggle hits. Of course you attack with the Voidwalker first. Koroda does not want to overcommit to the board. He had the chance to throw both the second abusive and the Leper Gnome out there. Instead he's playing very smartly around any possible AoE. Since this is a Shaman, you know he has the possibility of holding on to a Lightning Storm. There we go, easily handled. The taunt away. And this Harvest Golem is a safe play onto the board, because even if the AoE removes it, you still have the Death Rattle Summon Golem left. If you're gonna Lightning Storm with the Totem, you should roll the Totem first, but he's gonna roll with the Creeper instead. Low roll onto the Harvest Golem means it won't be killed. Low roll onto the Voidwalker also means it won't be killed. So the only places where the rolls mattered did not roll high. Let's see if that ends up being a factor. Elven Archer will take out one of the 1/1s, and this Implosion will definitely take out the second one. Let's see if we get 2 or 4 imps. We get 3, which is the exact amount of imps you usually get. The median amount, so to speak. 4-3, being forced to play out due to the locked out mana crystals from the last turn's AoE. There's a very, very formidable 7 damage from Koroda's side of the board, and Juristis does not have his second AoE out. Unless there are miracles coming out next turn, I don't see a way for Juristis to come out of it. He needs either a big taunt, like Sludge Belcher, or some sort of way to handle the board, like a second Lightning Storm. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 2 more damage, and there's a Defender of Argus. It is GG, well played. The German player Koroda takes this Hearthstone.fi Monday Night Community Tournament number 22. If he doesn't misplay this last turn, that is an exact lethal with that Defender of Argus play as well. Congratulations to him. It has been once again a joy to cast these matches for you. If you enjoyed watching. If you enjoyed participating, consider throwing us a follow, following us on YouTube. All of these matches will be put up as video on demand on our YouTube playlist, which is available on the tournament page. Thank you everyone for taking part. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.